Good morning and welcome to the crypto day morning for today's date. That comes in that of Sunday, the 31st day of March 2019. My name is Derek, all bets trades of the like within each's own risk and their own reward. This will be the last time that we'll have a crypto day morning. Moving forward, the morning videos around this time, 9 o'clock, 9:30, will be reflective towards precious metals and the stock market index. And at nighttime, Monday to Sunday, or basically, and if I can do it that night, I'll do it because the crypto markets never close. So whether it's Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, Christmas, Easter, it doesn't matter. If I can get on here to make a video, I will. If I can't, most of the time I can, well then of course I won't. Has made it to levels. Last seen November the 22nd. In at that over 106. But I'm not trading this against the US dollar. Let's take a look at it against Bitcoin. And it's 2.6 a percentage the price of that of Bitcoin, or 0.026 right now. At least it is on the Poloniex exchange, but you can pretty much expect that every exchange is working around the same prices. I don't even got this level of resistance has obviously been taken out. So going back to where it was in Bitcoin, we're at levels seen from November the 11th, so a little bit earlier there. And what we have seen since the bottom in the middle parts of December, or December the 7th, was a phenomenal, very fast rally to get to this point. When we can think of how long it took just to get from here, which was a lower starting point or a higher starting point, up to this high in here. It took a lot longer. The quick moves, you're just going to lower its volatility until a new story comes into play. And well, that's what's happening now, possibly. We'll get to that in a very quick period of time. But after this quick move, and there's even a little bit of small going back down, so another retest of that level, as we can see within this low here on December the 22nd and coming back on Christmas Eve. And then coming from 240 down to 191. The volatility isn't massive compared to a lot of other cryptos, which is just part of the business. And that's what's good for some of it, because a lot of people don't want those massive, enormous moves, and yet they're going to get it in this crypto market. It's just if you want tamer wild moves. Coins like Dash and Litecoin and Ethereum, they're more up your alley. With that being said, again, you come up to this point, you correct the 18 average. And I like how this one, and this one, all three correctionary phases, relatively in the same ballpark, as it has its high and then it grinds its way down with lower highs and lower lows, ultimately establishing a level of support which was higher than the previous. So there was a support from before here, the support in here from prior. Again, the one that it had from about March the 16th that completed on March the 27th, getting above this resistance line, getting outside above this 18, and away she goes. In one of my videos yesterday, I was talking about this coin and how it was a buy situation. And it was, of course, at a lower price. You know where it is now when we look at this on the 5-minute? Well, it was before midnight, and it was even... it probably would have been in here, yeah, 1900 hours. It would have been when it was about 244. One of the things I was saying was, it was just one of those spots where you just have to, if you're looking for one of those quote unquote traditional setups that the pros, that the books you're gonna read, and I'm writing one, but not like everybody else, but how everybody else says to get into a trade. This was one of the spots to do so. And I was also saying I don't even like it coming down here. Not only, I mean, it didn't hit it, which was one of the reasons I didn't like it, because I wasn't too confident it was going to go there. But for what reason? To get it back, I said like 2%. So yeah, so 244, 240 area. What, just for that small move? And it's been going up ever since very nicely on the single hour term time frame, just having its phenomenal move. And of course, the reason why I liked it was because of how it got above and broke this level of established resistance and continuing on higher. And although I'm hoping today I'm going to take some of my DASH and sell it for that at BTC on this exchange. Well, it won't be on Poloniex, but you get the idea. It'll be on Binance. So let's put the Binance chart up for now. And it's, what price am I looking for? Well, I think I need this to go to 26.6, I'm thinking. 268. So I got a little ways to go. And why am I saying I'm thinking? And I really will calculate this now or soon, but it's all price dependent on that with THETA, because Bitcoin sale would be a means to an end. What I would get in Bitcoin, and I have 0 Bitcoin on Binance right now, so I'll take all the Bitcoin I would get, and then I would then buy THETA with whatever is left. And to see that this thing managed to have a small break above here, I'm not too enthusiastic, because when I take my trusty little calculator upon us, or just bring it up, and I take the dash price of 0.026, and I divide it by 2667 Satoshi, 4 zeros, it's a 4-digit code. If it was a 3-digit code, it would be 5. If it was a 5-digit code, it would be 3. And a 6-digit code, it would be 2. As there's 8 decimals in this. Now, some of these coins you'll see on Binance, like say Komodo and Litecoin, have less digits. So knowing how much those digits would be could be important. But the ratio is 974 to 1. And I like to use a spreadsheet to help me out with things. So I can put the ratio in here. And earlier this morning was actually at 997. As I put in the 4-digit handle of dash here, I put the 4-digit code of THETA here, and I calculate it based on some of these zeros up here. I just have it set up so that it works out right. I entered this in at 850, and what I did at that point, I took the Bitcoin that I think or what I needed. So that it was just, when I look at what I needed to buy back, I'm thinking, well, geez, if I buy this much, I'll pretty much have the exact same ownership I do with my Dash holdings. And then I thought, why don't I just trade it with that? And then I bought whatever THETA I needed to get to that point. At that time, the ratio was 850. I'm looking for about 20% moves. So a 20% move north is at 1,020. So I multiplied this number by 1.2. And the equivalency of a 20% move up is 0.8333333 on the way down. So this number, multiply that, equals 708. So anything around 700 and definitely lower is where I would take THETA. I would sell it for Bitcoin and then take that Bitcoin for Dash. And I could just take the trade now and settle for like a 17.5 or 18% play. But I'm not going to do that. I know I could. A lot of things I'm going to be talking about too in this type of situation is a computer doesn't make these types of decisions. A computer program, if it's action to do something, if something gets to a certain level, it will do it when it gets there. But if it doesn't, even if it's off by one variable lower or one unit lower, well, as far as the computer is concerned, if this level is greater than this number, do that. And well, if it's not, it won't. So for me, it's not time to trade. I can look at this on the short term and say, okay, wait a second, this looks like a decently hourly setup. And it might be. But it could be a decently nice setup that would be not such a good one. Meaning, Okay, what I see here in the single hour is it's been making these resistance levels, and now the story is changing a little bit. This hour at 5 o'clock got above it. We've now having 3 consecutive hours holding and staying above it, and a relatively nice bullish candle with 24 minutes to play, or past the halfway point. This could be a bullish setup because it would have a price objective up to about here. And what happens if it did that, and you're happy that you bought, and then it could even go higher, and then next thing you know, it does something like that, and then it goes down to 24, 22. I wouldn't be surprised if THETA manages to make a move up to, or down to rather, significant levels. 2400 would be really basic, but 22, 21, 2000 even, any of those decent areas, although short term it is most certainly due for any of these types of bounces. Let's take a look at the reason why within the daily term time frame. It's been down a lot. A move to the 18 average of highs would take us to 29.95. Deeper, a little above it, into this previous area of support is at 3,200. The range of where it came from between like 29.70 to about 32 and a third. I'm still going to be a little bit weary about that. Now, granted, if I were to make this play now, THETA goes up to 32, 35, and especially if Dash would pull back, I mean, I could just flip it back right then and there. But until the ratio number is close enough, then maybe. And what I mean by close enough is I'm looking to make a play at 10.20. If this goes to like 10.15, 10.17, then I may do it. And I also have Komodo on Binance, but I'm no longer trading that against Bitcoin on there. Although I'm still trading Komodo against Bitcoin on another exchange. Actually, on Bittrex I would be doing that. But on Binance, as if it matters what I'm showing. Actually, it kind of does. So this says 27,165. And the Binance chart says 2,732. Well, as I was mentioning, there's the same amount of decimals of 3 that precede the first digit on that of 2. I do think this looks relatively okay or satisfactory for a setup. It has, over the last 4 or so days, showed a lot of production with the entire last move on March the 13th. Looking like a correctionary phase, coming down the 18 average of lows, deep into where it came from before. And from this green move, showing a little bit of strength amongst the 18 highs. I like how in today's session, how it's already gotten back a little bit of this 2-day decline. Is there any evidence of this on the single hour? Okay, so there's the little bit of the 2-day decline. You come up to this level in here, which is managing to get above the 18 highs and nicely. And there's nothing wrong here with coming below the 18 lows. Question is, can you hold and stay above it? Well, it didn't for a short period of time, or it showed weakness amongst the 18 lows. As you can be seeing in here, man, this thing looks like it's breaking down. After all, you had what looked like a bullish breakout, but still, when you have a move from point A high to point B low, you get above it and you still finish significantly lower than where you were before, then that most certainly isn't that super bullish, at least as of yet. So you come down in here to the 18 lows, and on this 1600-hour timestamp, supports it and then comes up. To me, it's not like it's like a 50-day moving average that everybody looks at. In fact, it's pretty much quite the opposite. There are hardly anybody that is looking at the front-weighted average of the last 18 lowest prices. It just doesn't happen. But regardless, it hits there. But it doesn't have the greatest of rallies. It comes up to where it came from in the previous hour, settles in there for a little bit, but nothing too phenomenal. And then in here, we've seen this red candle looking to break down below the 18. having this little bit of a green candle getting rejected immediately and all this. This is a very bearish setup, yet it didn't do any of that. It had this green candle, then just more neutrality as it's just hanging in there within the 18. As you can see, the band is just very flat. Now we would be seeing strength amongst the 18 highs, and that's where it plays out. So strength amongst the 18 highs gave us a very good rally. This was a higher low to this. This was a lower high to this. So far, this is a higher low to this, and this is another lower high to this. Things are getting very symmetrical within the short-term time frame. That is always a case of trader indecision, and that will remain so until it doesn't, and it can only remain so for, well, within its time frame, just a short period of time. Well, again, what I should be saying regarding its pattern and how much longer can it do before it resolves that pattern of indecision. And within something like this, I mean, a day or two maybe, but after that, unlikely. Or 20, 30 periods maybe. And concluding within Bitcoin, which has been resisting this Fibonacci level that it's just been really this 4100 level. To say it's been a decent one, or what Fibonacci numbers are supposed to do, I mean, yes, it has been doing that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the fifth hit on the hourly time frame that started on the 29th or on Friday. We had this little decent sized pierce after this sell-off, a failed breakout, and then a failed breakdown. Now, that again brings you to a rectangular box, a little bit of symmetricalness, as obviously it's now staying above this low, it's staying below these highs. It's going to have to resolve itself from one side or another. And as I've been saying a lot with this Bitcoin chart, when you resist it your first time in here at the end of November, then you do again just around Christmas time, and then you do it again in the second week at the end of the first week of January. You do it again on February 23rd, and now it's been hovering in that area since March 15th. And it's been at that area for the last few days. We've been seeing all of these higher lows, especially from, well, this higher low was higher than this, but in its meantime had a pattern of lower highs and lower lows to accomplish a higher low. And then the matching high, higher low, and those higher lows have been going on. The more often levels of key support or resistance are tested, or whether they're key or not, they become key when they become tested so frequently. But when that's the case, and it's over and over, especially in situations where you get ascending triangles on resistance, descending triangles on support, the probability odds that they get taken out increase each time. So I'm looking for very good probability odds that this thing's going to most likely have a very quick move of what I would consider around 20% and noticeably more, with the possibility of much more. Wow, that was said better. Let me explain that. Well, 4841 is the next key Fibonacci level. It hasn't even touched it since I drew it in. Although they have been edited, I drew these numbers in like on December, like really on this day here, as it was coming up. Or before it hit this. So it was, yeah, we'll say December 18th or 19th I drew these lines in. You could probably look back to search December 18, 19. You might even see it. I'm not going to, but I know. My memory is good enough to know that. And I've just been amazed on how well since then, and since then now is over 3 months in time duration, that this has came into play. So I realized breaking out above this is going to most likely have a fast move. Large size green candles like we've seen from here, 1, 2, 3 periods in a row, maybe even a progression move like we've seen February 8th through February the 22nd, in that area where it has a fast move, a story to confirm or to say. Does the story say after the fact it was a fast move there? One way or another to accomplish that is what I'd be expecting. And then, as I would be saying a little bit extra, I would expect it to pierce more. So we're talking about like 5,000. And 5,000 on 4,100, well, subtract those two, that's 900. That works out to like 22%. That's why I say a little bit more than the 20%. But it could be a lot more. because this is an area that's supposed to be resistance, quote unquote. I mean, you can try to pick resistance and support numbers all you want, and you might be very good at it with whatever levels that you use. And I find myself pretty good at it myself. But you can never be perfect. That's impossible. But in understanding the way markets move, one, it's just mathematically probable that you would have a fast move there. And when you get there, it's mathematically probable that there would be some sort of resistance with the favorable field to pierce extra, like we see in this pierce extra here. If you do not find resistance where you're supposed to, things to look for. And we had the and or that I'm going to say back in December. Look for support at this level and a fast move to the next key point. And this candle on December 19th shows it. For on this day, the day before it came up to this fib line, we've seen how it got above it nicely, came back to it, thus supporting, and then the very next day it gets that fib mark. And of course, it has now been testing or trying to break it for that long period of time. But if this level's not resistance, then we're looking at the next key level at 6,300, which is a monstrous level for where it came from. Let's switch over the exchange to show coin or the Bitstamp so I can remove these lines and also draw on the market or on the screen as well. And within such, we can move this onto the weekly. And within it, the volatility within these periods, when you look at everything that came prior, is very low. And we got that indecision point. So the bulls, until it has this nice clear break it and you see things going on, a lot of that stuff is going to be needed to bring the momentum of people into bullish camp. That'll put a lot of people in the bull camp. It'll also take a lot of the shorts and bears off of the bear camp as well, which creates those decent sized green candles going up, of course red candles going down when key situations come into place. The opportunity for this move to be a failed breakdown still presents itself as the way I look at it. The opportunity presents it, not saying that it will. I mean, usually the U-shaped formations don't extend themselves for as many periods as this has, but what I look for is a break of a key level, and oh my goodness, 6,200 was most certainly one, because it was already Fibonacci before it got there. As these lows and these highs represents a 23.6% down move. But we already talked about that last in 2018. I was going to say last year, which was true though. So as far as this failed a breakdown, we'd have to draw something like this. That's if it goes up fast to that point. So a fast move to 6,000 would complete a move to the neckline of that failed breakdown. You need to break a key level of support, check mark. It has to be a good amount, and oh my goodness, it was most certainly that. It has to have some time supporting in there, and well, that's a lot of time. With us, you need a little bit of resistance here, and that's a lot of resistance. And then you need a fast move that would get above where it came from. Although there's nothing wrong with coming up here, having a small move, or just hanging in there for a few days to get in there. But you really need to get into the congestion point, not just resist where you came from. Because if that happens and you'd resist it and it goes like this, then that would just be a very common established support, bear market rally, down it goes. And I'm not discounting that by any means, but for me to see the pattern of that U-shaped failed move, in this case breakdown, because failed breakout is the exact polar opposite. It's got to get back to its congestion area relatively quickly after it starts rallying to where it came from. Thank you for tuning in to this morning's video. I suppose there might be mornings where I might put quick updates in, but most likely, the way I look at it is I've already talked about different setups where a lot of these stuff that I talk about you probably already should be knowing. Like all this whole failed breakdown is not, it's not the first time I've talked about it. And if you see it coming, you're already going to know. And there's other channels out there too where I don't know how many people watch this one, the other one. So if you need any information because something's happening at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe somebody else has got it. Again, I wanted to create educational information stuff so that you yourself know how to do it. And I'm hoping that's a good reason why my viewership is lower, because a lot of people are like, yeah, I don't need this channel anymore because I've learned a lot, and all the stuff he talks about, I pretty much already know now. And that's a very good accomplishment to have in my end. So therefore, even if there's a big move in the morning, I'll probably just summarize on a day-to-day basis, make the videos on a consistent level. Probably try to make it before I would usually fall asleep at nighttime if I do or get really tired. So that would be between the 9 to 10 o'clock hour on the New York time frame. The problem with that is that sucks for Europeans, as that's like 2, 3 in the morning. Just trying to think of when I do it. I could always do the afternoon too. But that makes it very, very difficult to do a constant time. The only time that's easy for me to do constant time like I've been doing is this one in the morning. Now, how about near dinner time? Like, say, 5 o'clock. That would be end of the day in Europe. I mean, that's all great for all North America. And that's even good for Australia, New Zealand, and Japan, as that would be early in the morning for them. So that's probably where I'm going to go. Mid-afternoon, and I know that's been a common time, and that might be the reason why it is, other than the fact that the stock market closes then, is to do precious metals and the stocks in the morning. To me, that's when the market gets going. I put these up usually before 9:30, which is when the stock market opens anyway. And then just show like mainly gold and silver, and like stock market would be on the side, or would be I'll show that as well at the end. But maybe start doing a daily gold, silver, stocks in the morning, cryptos at night. Most likely I'm leaning towards late afternoon for cryptos and early morning for traditional markets. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.